Appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
This is CoreTV News on the hour with Nifemi Oguntoye. The Supreme Court has ruled that the impeached Deputy Governor of Taraba State, Sonny Danladi, be sworn in as acting governor. He is to replace Garba Umar, who has been acting governor since the then Governor Dambaba Sontai was injured in a plane crash in 2012. Danladi, who was Sontai's first deputy, was impeached by the State House of Assembly about a month before the crash. But the Apex Court ruled that the impeachment panel set up by the House of Assembly to investigate allegations levied against him violated his rights to fair hearing. Justice Sylvester Ngota, who delivered the lead judgment, described it as a kangaroo panel and suggested that there was a conspiracy between the Taraba State High Court and the impeachment panel to frustrate their appellant. The Supreme Court held that the two lower courts should have resolved the issue of fair hearing in favor of Danladi and subsequently ruled in his favor. Security agencies and forces on Thursday fired tear gas canisters inside the National Assembly complex to stop the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Aminu Tambuwal, from gaining access into the chamber. He was however smuggled in by other federal lawmakers after they had earlier beaten the barricade put up by the police at the main gates. Some members of the House of Representatives had to scale the fence of the complex to gain entrance, while a long line of vehicles were visible on the short road leading to the assembly.
This was the scene inside the National Assembly complex after the Speaker and his team had found their way in. He was making his way by foot to the main building housing the chambers when the first shot was fired. With no security orderlies to shield him, Speaker Tambuwal had to depend on his personal aides to move him out of harm's way, while the police fired more tear gas canisters. The smoke was so thick, even in broad daylight, that it filtered into the lobby. Virtually everyone around felt the impact of the tear gas, so much so that Deputy Minority Leader Suleiman Kawu slumped, having inhaled the noxious gas. It elicited anger in the complex, with some legislators chanting anti-police slogan, but were soon calmed down. This was because the lawmakers had achieved their aim of getting Speaker Tambuwal into the chamber in spite of efforts of the police team led by FCT Police Commissioner Wilson Inalibu.
While the Senate President David Mack has shut down the National Assembly after a police invasion of the legislative complex, he announced the decision in his capacity as the head of the federal legislature shortly after policemen had fired tear gas in the lobby of the complex. The Senate President also summoned Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abba to appear before senators next Tuesday to explain the police action.
On behalf of the representatives and the Senate, it's unfortunate we will invite the IG here on Tuesday also. You will recall that we had asked the service chiefs to be here. They were out here this morning. I have spoken to them and I told them to be here on Tuesday. So there will be no business
The National Assembly caucus of the All Progressives Congress has now described the police action as an assault on the legislative arm of government. Minority Leader George Akume said at a news conference that it amounted to a desecration of the symbol of democracy. He also wondered why the police would make a move that was bound to affect efforts to extend emergency rule in the 3 northeastern states.
Well, all of us were taken aback when we got to the gate and observed an unusual heavy presence of security personnel. They were checking and searching for what most of us couldn't even understand. By the time we got to the assembly premises, we were told that the speaker was under attack. He was being tear-gassed. I rushed out to see what was going on. It was very true. I got back to the office of the Senate President where some of the leaders, the principal officers were getting set for a meeting. And I alerted him to what was happening. But this time the deputy speaker was with him. But I really had to tell him to move very fast, that the assembly was under attack. The speaker was being tear-gassed, and other members of the House of Reps were affected, and some of the senators were also affected. He came out, frankly, and then we moved into the House of Representatives chambers, and there was some confusion, quite frankly, and the speaker was there. He composed himself as usual and was ready for business anyway, but the noise was so much. We came out with the Senate President, and there was some shuffling here and there. And
the question that comes to mind now is, what was the role of the presidency in the drama that took place at the National Assembly yesterday? Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs Doyin Okupe says the presidency is not responsible for the action that led to tear gas being fired at Aminu Tambuwal. Speaking a few hours later at a press briefing, the presidential aide described it as unfortunate and unexpected, but maintained that the Inspector General of Police acted in line with his mandate. He, however, expressed hope that the legislators will allow national interest override every other interest in considering President Jonathan's request for extension of emergency rule in the 3 northeastern states.
The whole scenario, as we witnessed it, is rather unfortunate. We wish that at all times, national interests will supersede all other interests, including personal and political interests. From government perspective, the overriding concern today is the issue of insurgency, which necessitated the request by Mr. President that National Assembly considers an extension of the state of emergency to give the security forces the needed legal framework and space for a successful prosecution of the war against the terrorists, Boko Haram. It is our hope that the honorable members of the House of Representatives will use the period of adjournment to resolve all matters so that they can resume to deliberate and act on this issue of national importance.
Meanwhile, against all odds, Speaker Aminu Tambuwal presided over a special session of the House of Representatives on the presidential request for an extension of emergency rule in Yobe, Adamawa and Borno states. He explained the reason why the lawmakers had to cut short their recess, as well as talked on why the House went on a break in the first place. The House later went into a closed session to consider President Jonathan's request.
The 18th November 2014, I received a communication from the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan GCFR, requesting for the extension of the existing state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states by the House of Representatives. As you are aware, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, in its Section 305, subsection 2, requires that once such communication is received, the Speaker shall forthwith convene or arrange a meeting of the House. Again, Section 5, subsection 6, in its paragraph contemplate that adequate for the extension of the state of emergency when submitted to the legislature shall be deliberated and concluded upon preferably before the expiration of the period of 6 months of the existing approval. I should remind my honorable colleagues that the last extension approved expires 12 midnight this Thursday, hence this special session. In view of some erroneous insinuations from certain quarters on the current research which are capable of misinforming the unsuspecting public, I consider it necessary to make some clarification.
In the same light, the House of Representatives has now said it won't be cowed by the police action which triggered scenes at the National Assembly. Addressing journalists after Thursday's special session, spokesman for the House, Zakari Mohammed, maintained that such illegalities will not be condoned by the legislators. He also cleared the air on an alleged plot to impeach Speaker Aminu Tambuwal.
I think we're students of history, and that we have been in these chambers since June 2011, and at all time, except the day that we were to be inaugurated, have we had the craze that we saw today. If a presiding officer will have to be locked off, and you gave us an assignment, you wrote and addressed your letter to the Speaker, and when you wrote to the Speaker, you said he should expeditiously treat the extension of emergency rule. He couldn't have sat on the streets of Abuja to preside. He must come to the hallowed chambers, which is our temple, to come and preside. And we have our norms. But of course, to our chagrin, all of you saw that we were prevented from entry. And at some point, tear gas was thrown at us. We're not criminals. We're elected by the people of Nigeria to come and exercise powers or exercise some duties for and on their behalf. So if those explanations given by those policemen is like crying or trying to shed crocodile tears, especially when the deed has been done, the interesting thing is that the world is seeing, and of course watchers of democracy are seeing. But for us, we have sworn to protect the Constitution and to do all those things that are right, and within the limits of our powers, and we refuse to be cowed. The National Assembly is not a state assembly where illegalities will be perpetrated and people will just take it on like that.
The police is not also keeping mute on this issue. They have now justified their action of the operatives at the National Assembly yesterday. They say the men were deployed to the National Assembly in response to intelligence reports of a likely invasion of the House by hoodlums and thugs. Police spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu also claimed that Speaker Aminu Tambuwal led what he described as a motley crowd to break the cordon and assault policemen. He insisted in a statement issued in Abuja that the police team was forced to restore order and normalcy. The police statement was silent on the use of tear gas in the complex, but claimed that the operatives used lawful means to prevent a breakdown of law and order. Now, away from that story, Arewa Consultative Forum wants the National Assembly to reject President Goodluck Jonathan's request for another extension of emergency rule in Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states. The National Publicity Secretary of the Forum, Mohammed Ibrahim, said in a statement issued in Kaduna that emergency rule is now a routine exercise and not a solution to the insurgency ravaging the region. According to the Northern Nigerian Group, it's worrisome that federal government does not appear to have better solution to ending the menace. It noted that further expressed that the emergency rule has provided the insurgents with more opportunity to seize more territory without any appreciable resistance from the military. ACF also urged the federal government to come up with a more pragmatic and result-oriented processes to end the spate of bomb blasts in the northeast. You're on to CoreTV News on the hour, live from Lagos. We'll take a short break now and we'll be back with updates on the AKT House of Assembly crisis. Stay with us.
Lagos, get Get ready to experience a roller coaster beyond what you knew about Fuji.
That's right.
K1 Live Unusual Concert. It's Fuji Redefined by the king of Fuji himself, King Wasiu Ayinde Marshall, the ultimate. With breathtaking performances from Lagbaja, Tubaba, Victor Laya, DJ Jimmy Jazz, Olamide, Sasha P, Honeybee, and many more. K1 Live Unusual, 21st of November at the Eco Hotel Convention Center. Hosted by King of Comedy, Alibaba, and Comedy by Bucci. Red carpet starts at 7 p.m. Tickets 10,000. Premium table 1 million. VIP table 2 million. State box 5 million.
Think you can handle it?
Tickets available at Niger Ticket Shop outlets in the Eco Hotel and Suites, Silverbed Cinemas in VI, Ikeja City Mall and Ozone Cinema in Yaba, or online at NigerTicketShop.com. For table bookings, call 09025 K1 Live or 09025 551 5483. Email glproductions@sodiumng.com. Supported by Lagos State Government, Lassa, Beat, Niger, Classic FM, Hip TV, Ray Power, Kenny's Music, Prime Time, BHM, Mega Screen, and EEC. K1 Live Unusual.
Get down.
Fuji Redefined.
Welcome back. You can access all of our news items on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG. You can also watch us live now. It's trendy on our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/CoreTV, live a space and news. Now, the crisis rocking the Ekiti State House of Assembly has taken another dimension. The PDP caucus of the House on Thursday impeached Adewale Omiri as the Speaker and replaced him with Dele Olugbemi. The PDP lawmakers also sacked all other principal officers of the House. Now, this is coming even as the streets of Ado Ekiti was greeted with protests in the early hours of the day calling for the removal of Omiri. Our correspondent Rashid monitored the whole development in Ado and filed in this report.
It all started with a protest on the streets of Ado Ekiti by those tagged Ekiti Lovers Group, who chanted anti-APC songs and called for the sack of the Adewale Omiri-led House leadership.
We want him to be removed because he has not been performing. He's not active. He's still at Lagos. He wants to be ruling Ekiti from Lagos. We don't want it. As a speaker, he's supposed to be in Ekiti State to be monitoring what is going on there.
And as if heeding the call of the protesters, the PDP caucus of the Ekiti House of Assembly gathered at the chamber and quickly barred journalists from covering the proceedings. Then the emergence of Dele Olugbemi as new Speaker of the House.
The former Speaker, Dr. Adewale Omiri, and his deputy served the state for almost 3.5 years. We are grateful to them. The House will continue to accord them deserved recognition and respect. We will continue to tap from the wealth of experience. Leadership in the legislative arms of government is collegiate, and every honorable member is a potential principal officer.
The leader of government business in the House, Samuel Ajibola, did not also waste time in stating reasons for the impeachment.
We have changed the principal officers of the state, of the House of Assembly. The Speaker has been impeached.
All right, sir.
The Deputy Speaker has been impeached. They have been impeached on the ground that, one, they left their official responsibility without an official notice. Two, for not to be able to coordinate the House of Assembly members, trying to divide the House of Assembly members. Three, holding the states hostage with the responsibility the whole to have render for this state to move forward. Four, for relating or revealing official secrets of the state to some interested party outside the government. Five, for misappropriation of the House of Assembly fund. Six, for signing a resolution that the House of Assembly members did not know about. That is the resolution of allowing the past government to get 5 billion naira bond from Steering Bank without being passed in this allo chamber.
So, how did the PDP lawmakers get the required quorum to impeach the Speaker?
It is the normal numbers of people in the House of Assembly that are impeached. The figure. Yes. Look, let me tell you this. You see, when we come to the issue of figure, not figure, House of Assembly has their own culture. We have our own law. We have the way we operate. We have the way we run things. It is not my duty to tell you figure. It is an administrative function. And you cannot allow me to, as a public servant, to go and be doing the duty of an administrator. That is not my own duty.
The latest development has only succeeded in widening the gulf of the crisis that has been the lot of the State House of Assembly since the coming to being of the Fayoshe administration. Political observers say the debacle is just about to begin. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
What does the Ekiti State Governor has to say about this? He has actually thrown his weight behind the new Speaker, Dele Olugbemi, and has promised now to work with the new leadership of the House.
The government has congratulated the new Speaker, and we are prepared to work with him. So I advise his colleagues on exile in Lagos to come back home and work. They were elected here. I don't know how they got into Lagos. I am confirming this change. I have been briefed. And the new speaker, we're prepared to work with, without apologies.
Also accused the APC lawmakers of bribery and vowed to resist any move to hold his government to ransom.
I want to take loan of about 2 billion from CBN, this for SME and all. And you're asking for 10% of it. Where will I find that from? I'm not giving anybody a dime. I'm not giving anybody a dime. If they are popular, what are they doing in Lagos? If they are popular, if they are on ground, those people pushing them was disgraced out of office here by Ekiti people. If they could not keep themselves in office, it is the House of Assembly that will keep them. They should be reminded, I am governor of Ekiti, I'm here. Ekiti Affairs remains Ekiti Affairs. So, I am telling them very expressly, I will resist any attempt to hold us to ransom in this state. That won't work.
And while the embattled 19 Ekiti APC lawmakers who were in Lagos to brief the media on development in the state have vowed now to go to court over the appointment of new speaker by their PDP colleagues. Olajimoke Olatunji was there and brought back this report.
While 7 PDP lawmakers were presiding over the swearing-in of a new speaker, their 19 APC colleagues were in Lagos to address journalists on the current situation in the State House of Assembly. The lawmakers say they're not moved by the new developments because they remain substantive members according to the Constitution.
Well, my attention has just been drawn to the breaking news coming from Ekiti State by the Special Advisor on Misinformation and Blackmails, Dele Olayinka, that Olugbemi is now the speaker and Abenola Eka is the deputy speaker. I want to tell you that I remain the speaker of Ekiti State House of Assembly. I, right from Dr. Adewale Omini, is the speaker of Ekiti State House of Assembly by the mandate of majority of all the honorable members in Ekiti State.
Rishalade Adetunji Taiwo still remains the deputy speaker, having been appointed unanimously on the 6th of June 2011 by all members present, sitting and voting. No sitting of the House can be summoned, like I said earlier on, by anybody except the Right Honorable Speaker.
The Majority Leader, Churchill Adidikwe, rubbished claims by the PDP lawmakers that the APC lawmakers are demanding royalties for passage of bills and describes the impeachment of the Speaker as a political drama.
For 3.5 years, we worked with Dr. John Kadefayemi to pass bills into laws that places man at the center of development. And over 50 bills, 71 bills. And as I'm speaking with you, history is there to actually bear us out that never for a day did we demand a kobo from that particular governor. We are not
planning any impeachment. But we need to say this. If we are going to impeach Fayose, he's not going to be impeached by our own activities. Fayose will be impeached by his own activities. We want to say to the whole world that if anything should happen to these honorable members, any of these honorable members, the whole world should focus their attention on Mr. Ayodele Fayose, because he has said this severally, that by the time 1, 2, 3 of you are killed, that of course you are going to toe his own path.
Boluwaduro, Ogunyide, and Babatope were also present to deny their sitting with the 7 PDP lawmakers on the 17th of November. The Deputy Speaker, Orishala Adetunji, says that the clearance of commissioners are issues that will be discussed on the floor of the House against the Governor's order for an immediate clearance.
And that was what Mr. Speaker did on that day. Read it before the commencement of business, and shall be considered upon the future day. The word shall is mandatory, obligatory, and it has to be followed. And that was what we did. We cannot do it that day. And that was what brought anger from him, that we are supposed to do it immediately. People we don't know, people we have not seen their CVs. So this is our role, very, very clear.
Definitely, all is still not well, as observers say the end of the Ekiti lawmakers' showdown is far from over. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And to further analyze developments in Ekiti, the man that was referred to as essay on misinformation and blackmail, Larry Olayinka, is joining us in our live studios here in Lagos, and he is the special assistant to the Ekiti State Governor on Public Communications and New Media. Thank you for joining us, Larry.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Your principal in the early reports that we saw as identified with the new speaker as announced by the 7 PDP members in the House. The question on the lips of many is that did the 7 PDP lawmakers form a quorum?
It depends on what the rules of the House of Assembly says. And when you have people in the House of Assembly, you have other people that abdicated their duty, they are on exile. You have what the responsible government should do is to relate with people that he has on grant. The other APC lawmakers simply ran away from the state. From Adro-Ekiti. The House sat on November 11 and they adjourned till the following day, November 12th. Since that day, the speaker simply vanished. And the business of government cannot wait for these people. So what the governor has done, very simple. Identify with the people he can see. And the people in Ekiti are the ones he can see.
They say 2 wrongs don't make a right. Do you see the court of law upholding the position of this lawmaker?
When we get to the court of law, you see the APC lawmakers cannot be the accuser and the judge at the same time. The court of law will now have to look at the rules of the House. It is the rule of the House that will guide the court of law in taking decisions.
The 19 APC lawmakers insisted that they left Ekiti for the safety of their lives. How do you react to that?
They didn't leave Ekiti for the safety of their lives when, during Fayemi's government, 10 people were killed. One of them, Kehinde Boluwade, is standing trial for murder, for the murder of Folusho Ogundare in Emure, Ekiti, on November 3rd, 2013. He is standing trial for murder, alongside 8 other people, 9 of them. And let me tell you, when they were granted bail by a high court in Emure, Ekiti, by Justice Kayode Ogundano, the judge gave a condition that whoever that will stand surety for the 9 accused person, including Honorable Kehinde Boluwade, must produce a C of O. That is, each surety must have a C of O. In the entire Ise and Emure Ekiti jurisdiction, there was no these old houses, no C of O. Governor Fayemi had to sign 10 C of O's in one day for these people to be released from prison.
But you recall that the Deputy Speaker, as well as certain APC lawmakers, were barred into the House of Assembly on Monday by members of the police.
You see, I was on a sister TV station two days ago. Orishalade was also invited. He He was in Lagos. He has been in Lagos since the last 3, 4, 5 days. I drove myself all the way from Ekiti. I got to that TV station before 8. Orishalade kept saying that he was inside the traffic. He did not show up. And he was called and he was asked, were you there on Monday? He said he was not there. He said he was told that the house had been invaded by thugs and policemen.
But there was indeed a heavy presence of security at the house on Monday.
What heavy presence? You see, a friend called me from Abuja on Monday. Let me tell you, a journalist friend called me that the House of Assembly is under, that he read a news posted by Wole Olujobi, who was sacked as a special assistant at the advisor of media to the former speaker, that 300 policemen are now have invaded the House of Assembly. And I told the person, wait for me, give me 5 minutes. I drove to the House of Assembly myself. Under 5 minutes I was there, and the first thing I did was to take photograph of the House of Assembly premises. There were only 3 civil defense officers within the premises of the House of Assembly.
Did you see the armored vehicle?
There was a armored vehicle at the junction to the House of Assembly. Normally, police do parade. On the street of Ado-Ekiti, there could be armored vehicle.
Are you saying?
And if you have not done anything to contravene the law, why would you be afraid of the police? And let me tell you, the same police that they now go about castigating, that same police was used against me on October 8, 2012. Government house policemen came to where I was eating. I was to be abducted, sent by Fayemi on October 8, 2012. I was to be abducted. I was dragged on the floor, on the road. On the road, I was injured, I was brutalized, I was anchored, both my hand and my leg.
Are you saying now?
And taken to the police station by these policemen that they are saying are now against them. Oh.
Are you saying that Ekiti State is safe for these 19 APC lawmakers to return to?
We are appealing to them to return to Ekiti. Let them come to Ekiti and perform their duties. They were not elected as Lagos State House of Assembly 2, or they were not elected as Lagos Island because they now reside in Lagos Island. Lagos Island, members of Lagos Island House of Assembly, they are members of the House of Assembly of Ekiti State. They should return there and perform their legislative
Could it be
duties.
true, as it's been opined in some quarters, that your principal of the Ekiti State governor is being apprehensive? They say once beaten, twice shy, and he doesn't want the reoccurrence of what happened in 2007.
Let me tell you, a normal human being would be worried, and I will tell you why a normal human being should be worried on the issues in Ekiti State. Fayose, on June 21 this year, an election was conducted. Fayose won overwhelmingly, including the local government of the former governor, Fayemi. Fayemi could not win a single local government. After winning that election, what did the APC people do? They sponsored a court case against the governor, and they were seeking for an injunction restraining the Fayose from assuming office. When it became obvious that they were not going to get that court order in Ekiti, they went to Abuja. They filed a case using an unregistered political party, Young Democratic Party, seeking an injunction restraining the Chief Judge of Ekiti State, Justice Ayode Jidaramola, from swearing in Fayose as a governor. When the Abuja one did not fly, they ran to Lagos to file another case again, seeking the same injunction. As at the morning of October 16 this year, when Fayose was being sworn in, the APC people were still sure that a court order will come from Lagos and stop Fayose swearing. And that was the reason Omini did not attend the inauguration, because he was actually prepared to be sworn in as the acting governor. When that failed, the next thing was for them to apply their plan B, and the plan B is use the House of Assembly to frustrate the government.
The APC lawmakers have now refuted claims by your principal that they were asking for a fraction of the 2 billion naira loan. What are your thoughts along that line?
But have they also refuted that they demanded that the governor should pay them 45 million naira subvention owed by Fayemi? Their subvention that their own governor refused to pay, failed to pay. When they came to the governor to negotiate, the first thing they asked for was, pay us this. They did not ask that, okay, we are going to cooperate with you, but there are youth in my community that needs job, give them job. There are students in my community that need scholarship. Give them scholarship. I need road in my constituency. I need water. I need this. They did not do that on behalf of their people. They only asked for their own personal gain, 45 million naira, and the government gave them. They shared the money.
It's all right. Larry Olayinka is the special assistant to the Ekiti State Governor on Public Communications and New Media, and he will be joining us tomorrow on Kodaja's Extra for more in-depth review and analysis of developing stories in Ekiti. Outside Nigeria now, UN Rights Office Sasson average of I've now said actually that an average of 13 people have been killed daily in eastern Ukraine since the September 5 ceasefire came into place. In the 8 weeks since the truce came into force, the UN says 957 people have been killed amid continuing violations on both sides. A new report by the office describes a total breakdown of law and order in rebel-held Donetsk and Luhansk. It also highlights credible allegations of abuses by government forces. Russia has been widely accused of funding the violence by covertly supplying the rebels with military aid, an accusation it denies. Ukrainian Prime Minister Arsen Yatsenyuk accused Russia on Thursday of seeking deliberately to provoke a large-scale war. The actions of Russian President Vladimir Putin, he told the news conference, were a threat to everyone, the global order and global peace. Separately, President Dalia Grybauskaitė of Lithuania, a NATO state and EU member, described Russia as a terrorist state in a radio interview. And that wraps it this hour on CoreTV News. Thank you for watching. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Do join us again at the top of the hour.